Good evening, welcome to the State of Business on our television with me, Kavish Kaperera. Let's take a look at today's headlines first. President Maithripala Sirisena delivers special address at Conference on Asian Civilizations Dialogue. Chinese President Xi Jinping pledges to support Sri Lanka in eradicating terrorism. News in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena says that all countries should cooperate with each other to wipe out international terrorism and religious extremism. President Sirisena made this remark while addressing the Conference on Asia Civilizations Dialogue held in Beijing, China today. President Sirisena called for the need for an international program to meet challenges faced by each civilization in the region and went on to express his appreciation over the conference organized by China. Speaking further, President Sirisena stated that this alliance of countries under the leadership of Chinese President will be an asset in the battle against international terrorism and religious extremism. The first session of the international conference was held in Beijing this morning under the patronage of Chinese President Xi Jinping, with the participation of President Maithripala Sirisena as a special invitee. More than 2,000 delegates and leaders of 47 countries attended the summit. The conference aims to discuss the Asian civilizations in the interest of safeguarding mutual trust and respect among the people of the world for the sake of humanity. The conference will be held in Beijing until April 22, 2019. The President of China, Xi Jinping, has assured President Maithripala Sirisena that China is ready to support Sri Lanka to eradicate terrorism and to ensure the country's security. During the bilateral discussions held between President Sirisena and the Chinese President Xi Jinping yesterday, the steps taken by the government to ensure the national security following the April 21st terrorist attack, as well as the steps taken to protect the country's people, were discussed in detail. The Chinese president had also agreed to provide modern technical equipment and knowledge required to curtail terrorism and cyber crimes. As per the special request made by President Sirisena, the Chinese government has also agreed to provide 100 SUVs to the Sri Lanka Police Department. Both leaders also discussed on the progress of development projects being implemented in the country with Chinese financial assistance. President Sirisena had stated that he expects to complete the constructions of these projects soon. The two leaders also discussed on the progress of the kidney hospital being constructed in Polonnaruwa. Sri Lanka and China are scheduled to enter into 3 significant agreements during the current official visit of President Maithripala Sirisena to China. These agreements are regarding the mega investments done by China in Sri Lanka and providing Chinese assistance for national security of Sri Lanka. Annually, China is among the prominent countries which generate the most number of tourists to Sri Lanka. As China has currently undertaken several mega investment projects in Sri Lanka, these agreements are seen as vital for Sri Lanka's development. The Chinese government will also grant a financial donation of Rs 2.6 billion for the activities of the security forces in the aftermath of the emergency situation resulted by the Easter attacks. Sri Lanka and the World Bank today signed a $70 million project to improve the quality of life of around 1 million people living in the northern, north central, eastern and Uva provinces in Sri Lanka. The new local development project will put local communities at the center of planning and delivery of essential services such as roads, healthcare and sanitation through closer collaboration with local government authorities. Dr. Idaswarai Ridhio, World Bank Country Director for Nepal, Sri Lanka and the Maldives, and Dr. R.H. Samaratunga, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, signed the project on behalf of the World Bank and the Government of Sri Lanka respectively. This project will also pilot the provision of infrastructure services that will promote local economic activities and livelihoods, including roads and drains, markets, water supply, minor irrigation, IT connectivity and rural electrification. The new local development support project will be implemented by the Ministry of Internal and Home Affairs and provincial councils and local government along with the 4 provincial councils participating in the project. The total project cost of $100.6 million, including a $70 million credit from the International Development Association, with a $23.65 million grant from the European Union and a $7 million contribution from the Government of Sri Lanka. Keep tuning in for more news after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Under the Rata Venuwe Nekata National Program, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs conducted a consular mobile service at the Dehiyattakandia Divisional Secretariat in the Ampara district on 10th May 2019. Through the mobile service, the general public from the Dehiyattakandia Division, which was the highest number of migrant workers in the Ampara district, was able to obtain a range of services such as attestation of documents, repatriation of stranded Sri Lankans, information on birth, marriage and death registration of Sri Lankan expatriates at Sri Lankan missions overseas, ways and means of recovering salary dues, compensation immigration, legal and insurance dues of Sri Lankan migrants, and procedures to dispatch human remains of nationals who have passed away overseas. The ministry participated at the events held previously in the Puttalam and Batticaloa districts in connection with the Ratavenu and Ekatisitam National Programme and conducted consular mobile services at divisional secretariats in the two districts. The first session of political consultations between Sri Lanka and Turkey was convened on 10th May 2019 at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Colombo. A new roadmap for enhanced cooperation in prioritized sectors between Sri Lanka and Turkey was identified as the first formal session of bilateral consultations. The head of delegation of Sri Lanka and Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Arya Singha, welcoming the Turkish delegation to the consultations, reaffirmed Sri Lanka's commitment to further advance the excellent bilateral engagement spanning 71 years since 1948. Among the future activities identified is a visit to Turkey by a delegation of Sri Lankan tour operators, travel agents, followed by a visit to Sri Lanka by high-level and diverse Turkish business delegation to coincide with the bilateral Joint Economic Commission. The consultations also focused on the need for Turkey and Sri Lanka to pursue shared economic interests and address common challenges such as terrorism at regional and multilateral platforms. Both sides agreed to actively follow up on the deliverables and review progress at the second session of political consultations earmarked for early 2020. The academic activities of the University of Sabaragamu are scheduled to commence on the 21st of May, and the administration of the Bhikshu University of Sri Lanka in Radhapura has decided to reopen the university for the academic activities on the 20th of May. The Registrar of the University of Sabaragamu, V.D. Kitsiri, stated that students are required to return to hostels on the 20th of May, and owing to security concerns, students will not be allowed to return to the university before 20th May. The administration of the Bhikshu University of Sri Lanka has requested student monks to return to hostels on the 19th of May. Study leave for student monks will commence on the 20th of May, and the first semester of the academic year 2017-2018 will accordingly commence on 29th, says Registrar of Bhikshu University, U.D. Thorangwala. The University of Grants Commission recently announced that the Vice-Chancellors are authorized to decide on the dates and the modes of commencing academic activities reopening their respective universities at any date from the 13th of May if university's security status is at satisfactory levels. The Meteorology Department states that showers will occur at several places in the western, central, northwestern and Sabaragamu provinces and the Galle and Mathura districts, and that showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Uva, eastern and north central provinces and in Hambantota district after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy falls of above 50 mm can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and the Galle and Mathura districts. There may be temporarily localized strong winds during thunder showers. Hence, the general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity. Showers will occur at several places in the sea areas extending from Puttalam to Trincomalee via Colombo, Galle and Batticaloa. Wind speed can increase up to 50 to 55 km at times in the sea areas extending from Puttalam to Kankasanture via Mana, and in the sea areas extending from Hambantota to Batticaloa via Puttuville. The deep and shallow sea areas extending from Hambantota to Batticaloa via Puttuville can be rough at times. Naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant in this regards. Stay tuned for stock updates after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All-Share Price Index dropped 23.71 points to close at 5,199.98, and the S&P/SL 20 dropped 17.75 points to close at 2,441.40. The turnover was 388.6 million rupees, 11.4 million shares were traded. Next up is Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap of the bulletin for the day, signing off with a promise for tomorrow at the same time with nothing but the latest. Thank you and good night.